Well, certainly the first thing is to thank the jurors and the court personnel and the law enforcement that put so much time and effort into this case. Obviously, this is the first of 4, so I'm limited a little bit what I can say. We're extremely, extremely pleased with the outcome of this case. We set out to find or seek justice on behalf of those 4 families and what occurred on October the 12th, 2017. I think we told that story. I think we told it in a compelling manner to the jury. I think that they saw this case for exactly what it was, and they rendered the appropriate judgment and sentence in this case. Thank you.
30 minutes for the actual verdict and 30 minutes, give or take a few minutes, for the actual recommendation. Are you surprised that it was so quick on both counts?
I was not surprised with respect to the guilt-innocence. I thought that would not take very long, given the mounted evidence in the case. I was somewhat surprised in the sentence recommendation. Now, simply because there were so many questions that needed to be answered by the jury as they went through. Once again, this jury did a fantastic job. They paid attention for 3 weeks, and they heard and saw the mountain of evidence in the case and rendered an appropriate verdict. But simply because of the number of issues that had to be answered, I thought that it would take a little bit longer. Obviously, when it didn't, I was pretty well certain of what their recommendation was going to be.
Now that you have the leader of the pack, how does that bode for going forward the next 3?
So let's only talk about Mr. Brady's case. Obviously, the other 3 are still pending, and Mr. Brady's case is different. Obviously, as you described him, he described himself as the pack leader. Obviously, there was a reason why we picked him first, and the reason was his involvement in all 4 of the murders of the corrections officers and the corrective enterprise staff and the maintenance workers. So very pleased with that outcome, and we're going to get back to work and get ready for the next trial.
When is the next trial?
It's currently scheduled for March the 3rd.
And can you talk a little bit about, you read that note from one of the fiancés of one of the victims. Can you kind of describe how that felt for you?
I cannot. I'm just glad that I made it through it, quite honestly. I had an opportunity I was handed that note right before the jury, as the jury was being polled, and I had an opportunity to read through it very quickly. And I knew that there were portions in there that were going to tug on heartstrings. And I have small children, and I'm a father, and so it's hard not to put yourself in her position with the loss of a loved one. And it was a very, very difficult letter to read, very difficult.
And what did you think about Brady's reaction when it was handed down?
I'm sorry, I didn't see it. I was watching the jury. I did not see his reaction at all.
What about when he took the stand? I mean, like...
Hearing that.
He cold, callous, I mean...
That's very good words. Very good words. I don't know any other way to describe it.
Did it help you guys?
I don't think it hurt. I don't think it hurt.
He kind of told all, or tell all.
I think he tried to minimize in some respects. I think he did not want to admit his role in Miss Darden's death.
Talk about how vital this death penalty was to get for the recommendation, because as you said today in court, he would be a dangerment to any correction officer or even fellow inmate. You know, you talked about it be open season, so I imagine there was this huge weight.
Yes. I think that the message was loud and clear, and I think it needed to be sent.
Can you, the families won't talk, but can you talk about what this has been like for them these 2 years?
No, I simply cannot. I can imagine what they're going through. I read a letter that tore at me at the last thing I did in this case. So no, I cannot even imagine what they're going through, losing a loved one in this manner, and then having it displayed so publicly and so openly, having it caught, and then having these photos revealed to them. No, it's unbelievable to me.
What struck me is how detailed this whole plan was. As you're looking at it and you're getting the information from the investigators, were you surprised how they had every single detail and it happened right there in front of the corrections officers?
Well, once again, when we're only talking, and I can only talk about Mr. Brady, and what he did, and how, as he discussed putting that together and making the bags, yes, certainly it's surprising that he did this for over 3 months, but I'll leave the rest for another day as we continue on down this road.
Lastly, you said that if the jury did not recommend death, it would send a terrible message to the rest of the correction system. What message does it send now?
I think the message is loud and clear, that the lives of the workers in the Department of Public Safety, in particular prison officials, are meaningful, and it in stepping out of bounds with respect to them is going to meet with harsh punishment.
For Brady, obviously he's going back to Central Prison. What is after that? I mean, how long, do we know how long this will take?
Certainly the appeal process will take some time, but no, I couldn't give you an exact amount of time.
Thank you.